Hey guys, Joe from J&M here. Thanks for clicking on the video. This week we have a real complicated job. It's 400 square feet of stamped concrete. We're doing a border first, pouring it first, stamping it one kind of stamp, and then we're doing the inside second, doing a second kind of stamp. It's gonna look great. Stick around for the prep, the rebar, the pour. Hope you guys like it. Leave us a like, subscribe. Thanks guys. So here's the beginning of the job, guys. You may ask yourself, why are those cones in the center? There was a gas line that's going to be inside the patio. So I put these cones up because, you know, better safe than sorry. And then I started getting closer with it, excavating things out. Usually in many cases, you'll see where concrete goes up to this wall right here. But in this case, the customer wanted about a 2-foot buffer between the wall and the concrete to have some landscaping in between, some like stone, maybe some plants. We weren't sure about it, but we know we needed to keep our spacing. We dug all this out, got this rock out of here, started laying forms. Now the forms, that was fun because once that border was in, that ribbon, there was no switch in it. We had to make sure that our slope was perfect. You'll see throughout the video where we're just constantly checking and double checking because once it was poured, it was in. There was no change in it. One of the big problems here was that the existing patio was draining off into this area, which is fine, but it was kind of sloping towards the house. So we had to take the water and have it go out towards the wall and then turn down towards right where this machine's at, where it's parked over there. You see it? So we had to start checking and double checking grades, make sure that the water was going to come out and turn towards the machine so it wasn't just slamming into the wall and puddling on the outside of the patio. One good thing that we really enjoyed but really gave us a hard time was the soil was incredibly hard. Even after it got rained on, the soil, we had to use round stakes and we were having trouble driving them in the whole time that we were here, which is great. We know that this ribbon isn't going to go anywhere. Que no toque el Porsche acá, que la flota acerque el cemento. Porque sí le dije al de Western Hurricanes, dijo aquí mira, aquí se acerca. Black concrete is one of the easily most stainable concretes out there. Like anything it touches, it'll stain. So we put plastic everywhere, took our time. We slowly shoveled it in up against that patio there. And it's also something that can effloresce real easily. So we had to make sure that it was sitting on crushed rock on that far end because there was some water under there. We had to get the water out, lay down some crushed rock to make sure it was sitting on dry soil the whole time.
Una vez nos íbamos a quedar con un señor, oiga. Eso es donde le digo que nos quedaban, dijo, robando por las casas. Y andaba un señor con nosotros. Un gringo con el que trabajábamos y trabajaba también con nosotros. Y el mexicano, un amigo mío, muy buenísimo. Ahí le vamos a matizar el sol, pero fuerte ahora sí ya. Ahí lo tiene. Ahora sí le...
Even though the temperatures were good, that whole morning the clouds were just coming and going. There was even fog. You can see that there's snow on the ground. Temperatures were good, but there was snow on the ground. We were getting a lot of melt off. Under that deck, it started dripping a little bit, so we put plastic down. Had to keep brushing it off with the broom. But little by little, it stopped dripping. We took care of it, started cutting our joints. We decided to do one joint every 2 feet on this to make it look like giant stones. Started stamping it to make it look like black obsidian. It looked cool. Is everything up, babe, besides the wood barrel? Washed and up?
Almost, yeah. All the tools have been washed, all the come-alongs and shovels are tied up.
líquido, si quieres, sí, para no andar con cosas. Oh, ¿dónde está la rajadita? Que yo dije que no la necesitaba.
¿Qué dijo?
Una rajadita para esta vuelta. Mire. Aunque voy con las chiquitas de él, que tiene dos más chiquitas que los míos. Lo levantan y lo ponen para el otro rumbo. Esto.
Primero más para acá.
Primero. The stamp we used on the perimeter was called Belgian slate. The inside was Italian slate. They're both slates, but they do look significantly different. And since it was different colors, so, I mean, different stamp, different colors, they do look unique. About 2 days after the pour was done, we came back, started stripping all the forms, still carefully. We didn't want to accidentally chip an edge. But we took our time, took all the forms out, started grading the inside. It's funny, right here, we didn't have to worry about setting forms anymore because that perimeter was the form and there was no more adjusting it up or down. It was what it was. We double, triple, quadruple checked and make sure it was good. But at least we didn't have to worry about framing that inside part because the outside was the framing. Apart from that gas line, our buddies over at Greenscape Landscapes, the company that hired us to do this, I ended up putting 2 more lines in here. You can see where they're going to dig it out so that these benches could have lighting in them. I mean, Greenscape's great company, does great work. Anytime anyone asks if we know any good landscapers, we always send them over to Greg and John first. They had their crew in here. I started kind of helping them because I couldn't go any forward without them finishing. So we started digging under there, laid our lines out. Once they were done, I got the rest of that gravel, 1-inch rock, and just compacted well, got it ready. We left it about 4.25 inches thick. I wanted this a little bit thicker. Just made sure it wasn't going to go anywhere. You can see here where I'm just double checking all the thicknesses, making sure the grades are good. Even though the grades are what they are, I was still checking them to be safe because it's better now than when the inside is poured.
Got you on camera. Chick.
I'm going to have to start cutting them as they get way shorter.
You mean they don't
Something funny happened this job. With the rebar tire, we forgot to charge the batteries and we ran out of spools, so we had to go in and tie these the old fashioned way, just with the hook and little ties. It went wet fast, anyways. We hadn't forgotten how to do it, even though it'd been a while. But we got those chairs on there, got it tied up, and it was good to go. There it is, guys. Rebar's laid. We got everything stubbed in. That ribbon's done. That's the right way to do these ribbons. Some people like to just use kind of a joiner edger tool and then paint it afterwards. No, you do your ribbon separately, a whole bold color. You do the inside. That's the way it's meant to be. That's the way I like to do it. The only way I will do it. It really looks nice. It's its own pour, its own separate color. It comes out the best that way. Let's see about that pour tomorrow, guys. Thanks. All right, guys, everything is prepped, excavated, good to go. We got the first part poured, that little ribbon around. It was just a little doozy, but we got it done. Now is the big pour, the inside. Hopefully that goes well. Hopefully you guys like what you see. Leave us a like, subscribe. Have a great...
Beautiful.
Finishers are finishers, but we're here to help. No splashing on the concrete.
There we go.
Be gentle, my friend.
Bien despacito. De entrega, quiere material, pues habla. Me ayuda para flotear ahí. ¿No es normal? ¿Es normal? ¿Es normal?
The one thing I was excited about, that this was going to be the first bigger pour, I was going to get to use that rattlestick to really give everything just a good bull flow, get that butter to the top. Oh, you saw me there checking the grade again, because it's good to know. You know, there's nothing we could do about it, but I still wanted to know. Just double check the whole way, make sure everything was going the right way it was going. We can come back and clean off the concrete after it's dried a little bit on that perimeter, but we still lay plastic because the less we have to do, that gives us more time to pay attention to the important stuff on the inside. You see me there checking the grades again, being paranoid like always, double, triple checking. Everything was flowing great, by the way. Maintained a 1% through the whole thing. Great crew of guys, really knocking this out, taking their time, making sure everything was clean. When we started doing our joints, we wanted the joint layout to kind of line up with the perimeter joints, just for aesthetics, honestly. They were off by a little bit, but they lined up with the ones on the outside, so it looked really, really clean.
Más caliente. Más calientito. Es con otra ruta, ¿no? Porque con la misma se aburre, ¿no? No, yo tenía un... ¿A este qué le va a ocultar? Ah, güey. Le agarras, te lo tomas de la basura, vamos tú. Porque es más atractivo, vámonos. La candidata, la hermana pasada, yo estoy con tu señora, no me dejes solo. ¿A dónde? ¿Hasta llegó?
So when I was floating the edges around these pipes. I had to make sure the grades were good here because our rod really couldn't rod there. So this whole area where this guy is right here at the bottom, I had to float that out, make sure it was graded right, and then they came in and just finished it all out, got it ready for the stamp. I started stamping the perimeter over here so they could get a clean start.
Tampoco no lo ha probado, estoy igual que tú.
Sabe que todo lo bueno le gusta. No le busque porque eso es bueno, sí es bueno, pero también es malo.
A la vez, primo, que no me gusta. Usted la señora va mirándose súper nice, ¿sí? Es bonito para madrugar. Tengo la troca cargada allá con la basura.
Aquí está, Miguel.
Es que tiene cemento.
Any, mini, miny, mo.
No necesita que acercarse tanto, siga la misma raya. Oh, necesita el amarillo. Que nomás sientan en sus patas que si se están enterrando las patas.
No, solo. Como que tiene un lunarcito aquí.
Acuérdese que en la orilla la tengo. Pues está quedando confiado la mujer, negro afuera, gris adentro.
As we're stamping, you can see that there does require a level of coordination to maintain the pattern. Yes, the skins, these stamps that we're using are very forgiving. You can get kind of lazy with it, but we try to make sure to line it up as best as possible just so it could be very consistent and clean looking.
La línea amarilla.
¿Qué le hago? Millones alzados.
Y nunca reclama.
3,000 bolas querían dar.
¿Qué le pasó al trailer qué?
Cuando se inició,
Yo por eso no le tengo asegurado.
pues se debería de sacarle.
¿Para qué? Pues no quiero.
Oh, tráela donde vivo. Miren que andamos. Dicen tráela, yo me imagino mi tráela.
¿Y con qué los pagamos?
Yo pago 1,000 por año por mi traililla.
Ajá.
Supuestamente cubre tuberías si se quema o algo, pero o sea, a mí no, nomás y pues, no va a pasar, no. Puede pasar, ¿verdad? Pero
Ahora que hizo frío, que
Once we made it past that the set of pipes there, the stamping went pretty quick. We'd go from one end to the other, start it up again, and then every time we would lay down, you flip it just to get some randomness, I guess, in the pattern. Came out really good. I love that Italian slate stamp. It's what I have in my backyard. It's what I always recommend to customers. I've never been a fan of the random stones or tiles because the grout lines just don't look real. It looks fake, but at least with this, it looks a lot real. It imitates stone better, if that makes any sense. Eventually, once they were done, this came out really nice. Look at that, guys. Looking awesome. All right, guys, we got it knocked out. Everything came out well. We stamped it. Take a look. What do you guys think? The border's separate. So the border is a color called Midnight and the inside is called Hailstorm Gray. They're almost identical, but you can see here where it's lighter, that one's way darker. That's what we got going on here. We got about a 1% grade from that corner over there to this here. It slows down a little bit over there where people will seated, but it came out really good. Poured 4,000 microfiber mesh, number 3 bar, 2 feet off center, 7 a.m., 5-inch slump. We wanted a little wetter, give us some time to work it, but there it is, guys. Looking really good. Thanks for stopping by.